Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Ben Olson. That's Nathan Fox. We're the founders of LSATdemon.com and our weekly podcast, Thinking LSAT. We have an email here from Sterling.
Sterling says, Dear Ben and Nathan, I'm a junior at UVA with about a 4.1 GPA. I am not a URM. I recently got a 169 on my LSAT diagnostic. I did a tiny bit of studying before taking it. I feel that I can get my score up to at least a 177 with some dedication. I laugh because that's oddly specific.
Yeah,
Um, Boy, 169 with a tiny bit of studying, there's no limit. I don't know why 177. Why not 178?
yeah.
Right. I mean, there's
Well,
just no
at
reason why you
least,
have to
yeah.
miss any questions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So strange. Where did that number come from? Like, I'm guessing that Sterling has some friend who got a 177, and Sterling's like, wow, if that guy could do it, then I could do it. Otherwise, where'd you come up with that number?
Yeah.
Anyway, while I feel these numbers would be quite competitive for top schools, some of the online admissions calculators, I know I should take these with a grain of salt, put my chances at 20 to 30% for Harvard, Yale, and Stanford. This feels disturbingly low and honestly a bit demoralizing. You want to respond to that?
Yeah, well, first of all, there are a lot of people who score high scores. Your chances of getting accepted depend not only on your LSAT, but also on your GPA. You have an excellent GPA, though. So, what you have to realize is that even though your chances of getting accepted to these top programs is 20 to 30% for each school, what are your chances of getting into one of them when you apply to all of them?
Right. So it's like, okay, let's say if I apply to 10 schools and I have a 20% chance of each of those.
Mhm.
So that's you have a zero point 0.8 chance of failure at each of those 10 schools. So zero point 0.8 to the 10th power,
Yep.
you only have a 10% chance of getting shut down by all 10 of the schools.
Mhm.
So every school shuts you down 4 out of 5 times. But if you apply to 10 of them, you're getting into at least one of them 90% of the time.
Mhm.
So that is, yeah, I would say that's promising. You can only go to one of them, but you can apply to as many as you want. Uh, I guess I also would just point out the fact that it's hard to get into Stanford.
Yeah.
Stanford had 4,200 applications last year, and they offered admission to 378 of them. So that's, yeah, it's less than a 10% chance of any random applicant getting admitted to Stanford. And apparently, these estimators that you're using online are telling you that you have a 20 to 30% chance of getting in. So the estimator is noticing that you're a stronger than average applicant while also acknowledging the reality that they can only admit less than 9% of the people who apply to their school.
Yeah, they can't admit 100% of their excellent applicants. And yeah, and if
Yeah.
they accept 9%, I mean, this basically says you're 3 times more likely than the average applicant.
Or more.
Yeah.
Yale, for last year, Yale accepted 5.25%,
Mm,
229 out of 4,358, five and a
yeah.
quarter percent. So if this calculator is telling you you've got a 20% chance of getting into Yale, it's telling you that you have a 4 times higher than average chance of getting into Yale.
Yeah.
Like you are a great applicant, but even great applicants get shut down at schools like this.
Yeah.
Probably not though if you apply broadly.
Hmm.
And you will have to have all your other shit uh, pretty tight, right?
Mhm.
Personal statement, letters of recommendation. There can't be red flags there.
Mhm.
You've got, like there these are the type of schools that legitimately would just shut somebody down if the personal statement made them look like immature or something.
Yeah,
They'll
they're
just be
looking
like,
for
not yet.
excuses.
Not
Yeah.
right. Not
Yep.
right yet. Like let them grow up a little bit. They're not going to be worried about throwing you back. You're a small fish to them.
Mhm.
Oh, high LSAT, high GPA. Oh, very promising. They look at your resume or something. Like, not yet.
Yeah.
My question is incredibly simple.
Okay.
I'm laughing at the adverb. Uh,
Incredibly. Yeah.
it's incredibly simple. It's so simple you won't even fucking believe
Believe
how
it.
simple it is.
It lacks credibility. Yeah, okay, whoa.
All right, here's the question. In your experience, what's the percent probability I would be admitted to each of these schools in the 2025/2026 admission cycle? Well, I don't know. I don't know how competitive next year is going to be, but I would basically take the base rate of last year. So again, less than 10% chance at Harvard and Stanford. How good of an applicant are you specifically? Or sorry, that was Stanford and Yale. What was
Mm,
Harvard? Harvard admitted closer to 11%. Harvard Law is huge. They got
yeah.
7,200 applications, but they offered admission to 793 of those people. So it's actually
Mm,
slightly better than 10% chance at Harvard. I mean, I would take whatever the random admission chance is for each of these schools, and just based on your LSAT and or your potential 177 and your 4.1 and the fact that you went to UVA, which is not a bad school. Uh, I don't know anything about your personal statement. I don't know anything about your soft factors or any of that. But like, let's say you have a twice as much of a chance of any particular applicant. Yeah, I don't know. I think you're a 12% to get into Yale and a 16% to get into Stanford and a 23% to get into Harvard.
okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take, so we have these admission chances of 20 to 30, so I'm gonna take the middle, 25%,
Okay.
and I'm gonna just multiply that. I'm gonna do 75% chance of not getting in, right? Just like what you
Times
did.
15 or to the 15th power.
I'm actually just gonna do for this question, I'm just gonna do it cubed for these 3
Oh,
schools, right?
okay. For these
So,
3 schools. Yep.
yeah, yeah. You have a 42% chance of failure, which means you have a
58%
58%
chance.
chance of getting into one of these schools. That's pretty damn good. That's above half. Now, you should be applying to all of these top programs, which would, as you said earlier, Nathan, bring it closer to like a 90% chance of success, maybe 95. And the reason for that is because okay, you don't get into these three, but you get into Michigan and they offer you a stipend. I mean, come on, like that's. I think Sterling. There's this underlying assumption here that um, I'm demoralized because boy, all this work I'm gonna have to do to get to a 177, and boy, it may not pay off in any way, shape, or form.
Mm. Mhm.
A lot of people work a lot harder to get into the 170s, let alone a 177, than I think Sterling's gonna have to work. And
Oh, people
the
work their ass off
reward,
forever and never make it to the 169 that Sterling basically started with.
yeah,
Yeah, this is born on third base and
worried.
worrying that you're not you're afraid you're gonna get picked off or something. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
like not like, dude, it's all gravy from here.
yeah,
You're pretty much guaranteed to get into a top 14 law school. You're pretty much guaranteed to get scholarships at some top 14 law schools. Nobody is a lock for Harvard, Yale, Stanford.
mhm.
I mean, I was listening to a random podcast episode the other day who where with a the guest was a University of Chicago physician, and after that, Stanford JD. So, like, who are the type of people who are at Harvard, Stanford, Yale? It's
Yeah,
not always just some random kid with a good LSAT and a good GPA. It's
yeah,
like, oh, and also, by the way, they already graduated from one of the best medical schools in the country.
yeah, yeah,
Like, they're already a practicing emergency room physician.
yep.
Okay. Well, um, yeah, that's like, there's no reason to be demoralized. That's like comparing yourself to, it's like, wow, I'm the best player by far in my league. But I still only have a 5% chance of playing in the NFL. That's demoralizing. Well, yeah, it's hard to play in the NFL. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know what to tell you.
yeah. It's also not the thing about this is that it's not bad. I think there's this strong assumption here that it's bad to go to some school like UVA. Like, oh, I didn't get into Harvard, Yale, Stanford, so I'm not gonna do anything.
Yeah,
What
UVA is a fantastic law
a
school
fantastic
that will
school.
open all kinds of doors for you. You've got Georgetown not too far away in your backyard. You got all kinds of other law schools in the country to apply to. And yeah, I mean, I feel like you're going to be a competitive applicant at all of them.
Yeah.
So, will you get denied at some of them? Almost guaranteed. Will you get denied at all of them? The odds are pretty slim. You'd have to, I think, put your foot in it in your personal statement or letters of recommendation. Like if there's some red flag in your applicant in your package, then yeah, these schools are going to find that red flag and shut you down.
Mm-hmm.
But assuming all else is equal, you're a real good bet. I mean, you're as good as the bet gets at schools like this, even if
Mm-hmm.
that's still just a 1 in 5 chance
Yeah.
or a 1 in 4 chance, if that's what you said, Ben. Or that's what the admissions calculators say, 20 to 30%. So that's how you got that
Mm-hmm.
25%, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm inclined to believe whatever those random internet calculators are. I mean, that seems like it fits with the 509 data. So, yeah. Um, Thank you, Sterling, for writing in
Yeah.
and inviting us to wildly speculate. Email daily at lsatdemon.com if you'd like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.